Hello guys, Rollbat1 here, coming at you with a new Yu-Gi-Oh video. And in today's Yu-Gi-Oh video, I'm going to be showcasing to you the Salamangreat deck profile, hand testing, and combo video. Now, obviously, this deck is very, very good. It's a combo control deck that is very strong and very good to play in the game right now. And I just wanted to showcase it to you because, one, I made the deck profile the other day, so I wanted to show you the reasons why I built the deck and the sort of the hands it can actually make. And I also wanted to show you that this deck actually has a lot of different lines of play, even though its end boards are always somewhat similar. Like, honestly, this deck is always going to end on at least normally a trap card plus a Sunlight Wolf, and sometimes it'll end on either more or less cards depending on the opening hand that you actually got. Because you can open on boards where you open, like, I don't know, Gazelle, Lady Debug, and like all these other cards that just lead to insane end boards, or you could just open on like a Lady Debug, which just allows you to end on a trap card plus a Sunlight Wolf. Like, honestly, there are a lot of different lines of play that you can actually do in this deck, and with this video, I hope to show you guys different lines of play, different hands that you can actually get, and just tell you basically the reasons for a lot of the cards in the deck and the reasons why we play them and the reasons why we do certain things with different hands. So that's what we're going to be doing in today's video. Hopefully you will enjoy, hopefully you'll like the deck, hopefully you'll like the sort of play style of the deck, and hopefully you'll just enjoy the video in general, guys. So without further ado, let's actually get into it, showcase to you some random hands and some random testing, and we will see what we get in our first 5 cards. So let's get into it. So, starting off right off the bat, we have one Pot of Prosperity, very good, excavate free, potentially get a card that will guarantee us any combo in the game. So very good. Called by the Grave, stop hand traps, stop anything along those lines, very good card as well. It's a one-off, so it's not always going to be guaranteed, but it's a good card to open. Salamangreat Roar, this is actually very good to open in our opening hand because it means that we can send the Rage to Grave guaranteed and have both on the board to have 2 disruptions. Ash Blossom, very good for going second as well, so if we did go second with hand, we had disruption. And 2 Ash Blossom. I don't like the 2 Ash Blossom, and honestly, looking at this hand, we don't actually have any guarantees. We're very fully relying on the Pot of Prosperity to be able to play the game. So hopefully with the Prosperity, we'll actually be able to get to cards that will allow us to play the game. So let's actually see what we can get. So we're going to start off obviously by activating the Prosperity, and we're going to banish 3 cards from our extra deck. Now obviously in a Salamangreat deck, a lot of the cards are important, and there are a lot of things that you could potentially banish, but when I do Pot of Prosperity, normally what I'm going to be banishing is either one of the 3 Link 4s or one of the 2 Xyz monsters. Normally, well, 2 of the 2 Link 4 or higher, or 2 of the Xyz monsters, or 1 of the Xyz monsters, sorry. So what I'm going to say we're going to banish here is going to be Appaloosa, because with this hand we obviously can't make it turn 1, and the whole reason it's in here is to make it turn 1. We're going to banish the Underworld Goddess because it might not come up later in the game, and I feel like if it doesn't come up later, there's no real necessary need for it, and Broadsword could be just potentially a lot better. And 1 Abyss Dweller, because unless we're playing against Drytron or a deck that's really reliant on the graveyard, it's not going to be as strong as Babushka, which can just be summoned in defense mode and say you can't play the game. So we're going to go ahead and banish these 3 cards, and we're going to excavate the top 3 cards in our deck. So let's go ahead and excavate them and hopefully get a card that will allow us to play the game. So we may excavate Impermanence, a hand trap that could potentially disrupt our opponent but doesn't really help us in this situation. Another Prosperity which doesn't do anything for us in any stretch of the imagination. And a Lady Debug, a card that actually allows us to play the game in full. So we're going to take the Lady Debug, we're going to put these 2 to the bottom, and we're going to go ahead and make a board with just the Lady Debug. So obviously, these 4 cards mean nothing to us. We can't use these cards to actually advance the game state in any way, shape, or form. We could use the Call by Grave to stop an Ash Blossom or something along those lines, but we're going to say our opponent doesn't have Ash, so we don't have to go too deep into that because we're testing the deck and showing you kind of end boards. So let me show you what we can do with Debug. So, starting off, we go ahead and normal summon the Lady Debug and declare effect. Her effect is going to go ahead and allow me to add from my deck to my hand a Salamangreat monster of level 3 or lower, because, well, we only play Salamangreat monsters of level 3 or lower, outside of, like, the few level 4s that we play. And we're going to add the best one, which is Salamangreat Gazelle. We're then going to go ahead and link the Lady Debug into Balinks, and we're going to trigger the Balinks effect to go ahead and search the field spell. So we go ahead and search the Salamangreat Sanctuary. And we're going to go ahead and link the Balink, we're going to go ahead and activate the Sanctuary first, and then we're going to link the Balinks into itself, summoning the Balinks. Now, we have to do this with the Sanctuary because, well, we have no ways to send a Salamangreat card from our deck to the graveyard, or from anywhere to the graveyard, to be able to summon the Gazelle. So we have to link the Balinks into Balinks, so then we can trigger the Gazelle. So we're now going to trigger the Gazelle, as I just said, and summon the Gazelle from the hand. We're going to use Gazelle's effect, which is going to go ahead and send a Salamangreat card from our deck to the graveyard. we're going to send the Spinny. And you're probably thinking, the Spinny, but why not a spell or trap of some sort? And that's because I prefer to go with this hand into a board that will basically have guarantees. Like, I want to have a guaranteed board that will give me consistency for next turn, allow me to have plays for next turn, and also just be playable for next time. Because obviously we've opened the Raw. I could have easily sent the Rage here, but we can't actually get it back either, because if we link these two into Sunlight Wolf, it's not like we can link the Sunlight Wolf into itself. But if we did, we would have to waste the Spinning. So there's no point. Well, we can't even send the Spinning to add the Rage back. So it's like you have to go with this route to get the most advantage out of your hand. It's just like that. You have to waste your co-link summon to get your most advantage. Like, that's what we're doing here. So we go ahead and do that. We're then going to go ahead and use the Spinny, and we go ahead and overlay these two to go ahead and make the Mirage Stallion. We're then going to use the Mirage Stallion's effect to special summon a Salamangreat monster from our deck. That Salamangreat monster is most certainly going to be the Jaguar. So, and also guys, we've only used one card. Like, this is just Lady Debug. Like, Prosperity doesn't count because it got us the Lady Debug. So, we go ahead and summon the Jaguar from the deck, and then we're going to use the Jaguar and the Balinks to go ahead and summon out the Sunlight Wolf. We're then going to go ahead and use the Jaguar Engrave to go ahead and put a Balinks back in the extra deck, because we obviously only played 2. I'm still allowed to pick up 2. And we summon the Jaguar. We're then going to trigger the Sunlight Wolf's effect, which is then going to go ahead and add the Gazelle back to hand for next turn. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and set the Called By, or we're going to set the Roar, so we can go ahead and have disruptions for our opponent's turn on that front, and also have an Ash Blossom in hand too. So with one card in our hand, we were able to guarantee 4 card advantage. So pretty much one card led to a +4 board. Well, sorry, no, a +3 board, my mistake. It led to, well, actually, no, it is a +4 board because we got the Gazelle back in hand. So, one card led to +4. That's in Salamangreat. And one Lady Debug, and it literally led to me having 4 new cards. Field Spell, Mirage Stallion, Sunlight Wolf, Gazelle, and Jaguar. These are 5 new cards that we didn't have in our hand. And that's just one card combo. Obviously, if we didn't open the Ash Blossoms, the Roars, or the Called By, it would be a very different hand, because like these cards could literally be any other cards. You'd still be able to end on guaranteed the Gazelle in hand and these 3 cards, as long as your opponent doesn't have disruption. But like, that's just a one card combo that we had to play out, because obviously we didn't open, well, any additional cards. But it's still really strong to showcase what you can do with just one card in Salamangreat, thanks to Mirage Stallion being back as well. Like, honestly, you couldn't actually do this before without the Mirage Stallion, and the Mirage Stallion being back just allows it to happen, and I love that. That's why we play it with the Mirage Stallion. Like, honestly, without Mirage Stallion, I don't like Salad. With Mirage Stallion, I love Salad. But that's the first test hand. I've obviously shown you what you can do with it. We're now going to shuffle it up, hopefully get a much better hand to show you a different board and see what we've got. So shuffling it up, see what we can do, and hopefully you'll enjoy this hand as well, and we'll have a very, very nice hand. So give it a very nice shuffle, make sure it's all mixed up and all that good stuff. So yeah, shuffling, and see what we got. So 5 cards, let's see what we got here. So we start off with Impermanence, very good hand trap as always. Pole of Prosperity, again, good card, will allow us to activate free. Spinny, another very good card that can allow us to go into different Salamangreat plays. Drops, Forbidden Droplets, which is another good card, and Infinite Impermanence. So this hand is okay. It's not the best. Again, like, this is another hand that really is reliant on what we get off the Prosperity. But even if we don't get anything good off the Prosperity, we've still got the 2 Imperm and the Droplets to kind of interact with our opponent there too. So it's not the end of the world if we do not get nothing off the Prosperity. Plus, we can also go Spinny into Sunlight Wolf and stuff as well, which is also kind of nice there. But let's go ahead and play this hand and see what we get. So obviously, starting off, we're going to go ahead and Prosperity. Banishing 3, we'll just banish the same 3 as before. So we'll banish the Dweller, the Underworld Goddess, and the Appaloosa. And we'll excavate the top 3 cards to see what we get. So we get another Prosperity again. Prosperity after Prosperity, right? We get a Spinny. Not what we want, because we've already got a Spinny in hand. It would be much better if this was a different Salamangreat. And a Falco. Now, this is not ideal. This is very, very awkward in the things that we could get here, because it's not really super combo heavy of what we can do here. Like, honestly, I can take the Spinny and just have an extra Spinny. I could take the Falco to have somewhat plays with that, or I could literally just not take any. I could literally just take the Prosperity to have something for next turn. But I think with this, we're gonna go ahead and I think we're going to take the Falco, because the Falco just guarantees that we can summon the Spinny, and we can also discard the Spinny. So we're going to take the Falco, and we're going to put these two to the bottom. We're going to go ahead and then normal summon... You see, I don't know if I want to normal the Falco or I want to normal the Spinny. Like, this is the problem with this kind of hand. You don't really know what you want to do. Like, honestly, if the other Spinny was a Foxy, or if we got, like, the Lady Debug again, we would have full combo. Or, like, there's so many different cards we could have gotten in the deck that would have just given us a lot of different plays. But we got the Falco and another Spinny. Like, that's one of the problems with decks sometimes. You just get the cards that you don't need. But, yeah, let's go ahead and see what we can do. So, I think what we're just going to do with this hand is we're going to normal the Spinny. We're going to link it off, we're going to make the Balinks, we're then going to use Balinks to search the field spell, wherever it is, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to step free and pass. Like, I honestly don't see what else we could do with this kind of hand, and then next turn, depending on what we draw, it's really going to be different. Like, honestly, let's see what we would draw. We would draw a Roar. That's not going to help us in any way, shape, or form. So next turn, I think we would literally just be, if the Bailing survived, we would probably just go Spinny Effect, Special Summon the Spinny, normal the Falco, link these two into the Update Jammer, then these two into Transcode, and then Transcode Update Jammer allows you to make this attack twice, and then you just summon the Update Jammer back. But that's all I really see you doing if you do go second, if you do end up having to wait a turn and you use all of these and you keep your Bailings alive through all of that. Like, that's all I see you being actually able to do if you draw that kind of hand. Like, there's not much else you could actually do with it. So it's going to be very, very risky if you have that hand. Like, that's not the best hand you can get. And obviously, there are going to be times where you have those types of hands, but hey, I showed you it. Let's go ahead and see if we can get a better hand on the next one. Like, it does happen from time to time where you get bad hands like that, and I just showcasing you it just prove that the deck has its flaws as well. Like, every deck has its flaws, and I'm not going to, like, preach that this is the best deck in the world, but, like, you can get those kind of hands. I'm not going to be, like, crazy and say you can't. But yeah, let's go ahead and see what the next hand is. Hopefully it'll be a lot better. If not, then I'll just put it back into the deck and shuffle again because, well, I want to showcase hands that actually work. But let's go ahead and see what we've got. So we've got Foxy. So this is the first time we've drawn Foxy. We've got Spinny. This hand is actually really strong. Like, Jaguars, Falco, Foxy, Spinny. Like, this is very, very strong going first hand. So let's go ahead and showcase what we can actually do. So we're going to start off by normal summoning Foxy. And I'm going to be making this very, very clear here. Do not trigger the Foxy. And there is a very specific reason to do that. You don't do that because you have the Jaguar in hand. And because you have the Jaguar in hand, you can't trigger this Foxy because you're going to use the Foxy to send the Jaguar to the graveyard. Do not trigger the Foxy to excavate the top 3. So yeah, just saying that now. So we're going to go ahead and normal the Foxy, and we're going to link the Foxy into the Bailings. We're going to use the Bailings, which I'm just going to see what we've got. And we've got a Rage, but it's not worth it still. To go ahead and search the field spell. So we get the field spell to our hand. And after that, we're going to go ahead and add the field spell to our hand, and we're going to then go ahead and activate it. Now that we've got the field spell on the board, we're going to go ahead and use Foxy Effect, which is going to discard the Jaguar to the graveyard to go ahead and summon the Foxy. As I said, please do not use the Foxy Effect because you need the Jaguar in the graveyard. So we're going to do that. We're then going to go ahead and use the Spinny Effect, discarding the Spinny, and we're then going to special summon the Spinny from the graveyard, boosting one of these by 500. We're going to overlay these two, and we're going to make our Mirage Stallion. We're going to use Mirage Stallion Effect, detaching the Spinny, and we're going to special summon a level 4 Salamangreat from our deck, specifically level 4. Well, no, actually, we don't summon the level 4. What am I saying? What we're going to do is, with this hand, we're going to summon the Gazelle. And I know I said level 4 because that means we could go for a rank 4 play, but I don't want to do that. I want to get the Gazelle to go ahead and guarantee that we get a trap card. So we're going to summon the Gazelle from our deck in defense. And then we're going to trigger the Gazelle's effect, which is going to send a Salamangreat card from our graveyard to the deck. From our deck to the graveyard, sorry. Now, you have two options here. You have mainly the Rage or the Roar. It's really up to you which one you want. It depends on, do you want to be able to pop cards or do you want to be able to negate cards. Now, if you're going second, if you're going into game 2, I would recommend getting the Raw, because if your opponent plays like evenly matched or something along those lines, then the Raw is just going to be coming a lot handier. But if you're going first, I would normally send the Rage, because of it's just a card that says pop 2, disruption, and it's just really good. But for sake of the video, we're just going to send the Raw, because the Raw is still pretty decent to get in the graveyard, even if you are going first, if you're kind of wary of what your opponent is playing. And seeing as we don't have an opponent, the Raw is going to go to graveyard. Then we're going to go ahead and link these two together, though, to summon out the Sunlight Wolf. We're then going to go ahead and link the Sunlight Wolf into itself with the field spell to summon out another Sunlight Wolf. The reason we do this is because, well, we want to go ahead and use the Jaguar. And to use it, we need to shuffle away a Salamangreat card, and I obviously don't want to shuffle away the Spinny, the Gazelle, or the Baelings, because the Baelings is protecting, the Gazelle I want to add to hand, and the Spinny I want for later turns. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and shuffle the Sunlight Wolf that we put in the graveyard with the link into self-summon, the Reincarnation Link Summon, and we're going to summon the Jaguar to the board into the zone the Sunlight Wolf points to. The Sunlight Wolf is then going to trigger, because the monster was summoned to a zone points to, adding the Gazelle to our hand. So now we've got the Gazelle in our hand, and along with these cards, which don't really mean anything. And we're still not done, because we're going to go ahead and use the Sunlight Wolf effect. We're just going to go ahead and add the Raw to hand, so we can go ahead and set it and have it for the following turn. So pretty much, guys, that hand was the kind of a free card combo hand. Obviously, we opened, well, this. You could have easily done it with 2 cards as well, I'm not gonna lie. Like, you didn't need free cards to do that hand, unless you, like, well, you do need the free cards technically if you want to go into this specific way, because what you do is you summon the Gazelle, and if you don't have the Jaguar, you go ahead and send the Jaguar instead of sending the Raw, so you can go ahead and use the Jaguar effect to go ahead and special summon back, well, itself, and then just go ahead and use the Sunlight Wolf to add the Gazelle back. But if you really wanted to, you could just not do that and just send the Raw, so you can go ahead and then get the Raw and set it for the following turn, and then still have the Falco to go ahead and then just summon. But nonetheless, guys, that was a free card combo hand. It was literally Foxy, Spinny, and then Jaguar in hand. You could do that kind of hand as well with just the Foxy and the Spinny, to be honest, because all you need to do is normal the Foxy, go ahead and not activate its effect, go ahead and make the Baelings, go get Sanctuary, and then just make the Mirage Stalio instead of sending the Jaguar to grave, obviously. But that's just one hand. Let's go ahead and go on to the final hand we're going to be doing, so you guys can see what that one will be. Hopefully it'll be another good hand, or it'll be a better hand to that, because there are boards where you can end on a lot better cards, and a lot different boards as well. So hopefully we get a hand that will allow us to at least end on an Xyz monster this time. So let's go ahead and shuffle it up and show you guys what hand we might be getting. And hopefully this hand won't be, you know, Prosperity or just like something random like that. Let's see if we can get a very, very good going first hand. So shuffle it up, see what we get. Hopefully we don't get a ton of one-offs, and we will have a good time. So shuffle it up and make it as random as possible, and we shall see what we have. So 5 cards, and see what we got. So we start off with Nibiru. Nibiru is always a good hand trap, but we're going first, so it does nothing here. Nibiru again, Imperm, Lady Debug, Imperm. Okay, so I've already shown you the board that has the 1 card Lady Debug. It's literally just, these cards mean nothing. You go Lady Debug, and we have +4. I've already shown you that. I don't want to show you it again, so we're going to go ahead and reshuffle this hand, because you've seen what 1 card Lady Debug is. I don't think you want to see it again. So let's go ahead, shuffle this up one more time, and hopefully get a bit of a better hand. Like, 1 card Lady Debug hands, guys. You don't want to see it multiple times, do you? Alright, so we got Will. This is the first time we've drawn Will this whole video. We've got Nibiru as well. We've got Spinny. We've got Impermanence. And we've got Mining. Okay, so this hand is actually very, very strong. This is a very good hand and has actually a lot of different lines of play that we could potentially go down. So let's see what we can actually do with this hand. So we're going to start off with the Silent Mining, obviously, and you can literally discard whatever you want as long as it's not the Spinny or the Will. So we're going to just go ahead and discard the Nibiru because we don't want to tribute our board, obviously. So we're going to discard it, and we're going to add the Lady Debug to our hand. We're then going to go ahead and normal summon the Lady Debug, and we're going to trigger the debug effect, which will then allow us to add the gazelle to our hand. Obviously, we've already done this 100 times, so let's just go ahead and get the gazelle. And we're then going to go ahead and link the lady debug into the bay links, and we're going to use the bay links to go ahead and search the field spell. And let's go ahead and get the sanctuary. We're then going to go ahead and use our spinny, discarding it, boosting the bay links, and we'll then trigger the gazelle, summoning the gazelle. And we're then going to use the gazelle effect to send a Salamangreat spell or trap from our deck to the graveyard. We're going to go ahead and send the roar, obviously, because we got the roar. Like, we don't know what our opponent's playing, so we're going to send the roar. And then we're going to go ahead and use the spinny effect, summoning it. And we're going to overlay the gazelle and the spinny, summoning out the Mirage Stalio again. We're going to use the Mirage Stalio, detaching the gazelle, to go ahead and summon out a Jaguar, wherever it is. Where's my Jaguar? Where is it? There it is. Summon the Jaguar in defense. And we're then going to go ahead and use the Balinx and the Jaguar to go ahead and summon the Sunlight Wolf. We're going to go ahead and activate the field spell, link the Sunlight Wolf into the Sunlight Wolf. And you're probably thinking, you're doing a lot here, but you're doing a lot of the same things. But this is because I'm actually going to show you a good end board that you can actually do when you open the Will of the Salamangreat only. So we're doing it this way. We're going to use the Sunlight Wolf to go ahead and add the roar back. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and use, let me just check my graveyard, make sure we've got everything we need. I think we're missing one thing. Yeah, I think we need to do one slightly different thing. Yeah, we've got to do one different thing, but it's fine because we can still do what I want to do. So what we're going to do differently is we're going to go ahead and use the Jaguar, putting the Sunlight Wolf back into the extra deck. So we put that back, summon the Jaguar, then we're going to trigger the Sunlight Wolf effect, which is going to go ahead and add the Gazelle back to hand. So we have Gazelle for next turn. We're then going to go ahead and link the Jaguar and the Gazelle, the Mirage Stalio, into a Sunlight Wolf. And you're probably thinking right now, why in God's name did you do that? And there is actually a very specific reason. It's because what we're going to do now is we're going to activate the Will of the Salamangreat, and we're going to use Will's effect to go ahead and target the Sunlight Wolf, send the Will to the graveyard, summon back the Jaguar and the Spinny. It can be either of them. And then we're going to link these three into Appaloosa. And so what we end on with this hand, because we opened Will of the Salamangreat, is literally we open Sunlight Wolf, a trap card, which is the roar. We have Impermanence as an extra negate. We have a free negate Appaloosa. And we also have the Sunlight Wolf and Gazelle for next turn. So that is the board that we were able to open with just that hand alone. Like, we opened what? We opened Signet Mining, Nibiru for the discard, and we opened the Impermanence with a Spinny and the Will. Like, this hand, we technically only needed 3 of these cards. This was a 3-card hand that ended on Appaloosa with 4 negates and the Gazelle in hand for next turn. Like, that's just one end board, and honestly, we may have not gotten any of the boards that end with Xyz monsters or anything along those lines. Like, we didn't get a single board that ended on the Babushka and the Dweller, but literally to get to those boards, all you need to do is open literally debug with Spinny, or debug with literally just like any way to discard or send a Salamangreat to graveyard, and you can end on those boards, these 2 very easily. But guys, that has just been this video though. This has been the Salamangreat hand testing video. I feel like this has been a really good hand testing video. I showed you a lot of different boards, a lot of random hands, and a lot of different things you can do. I even showcased the Appaloosa board, where if you do open the Will, you just have the ability to make Appaloosa. It's one of the reasons why I kind of sometimes want to up the Will of the Salamangreat, because if you open this turn 1 with like debug plus spinny, you just end on Appaloosa with a negate and also that. But honestly, this is just the type of deck that can do that, and I really do appreciate that from the Salamangreat deck. But guys, that is the video though. Tell me what your thoughts are on the hand testing and combos that this deck actually has. Like, you've got a lot of different things you can do in here. You've got a lot of different plays you can do and a lot of different combos that you can do. So I hope you do appreciate this deck a lot. But guys, thanks so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy. Hopefully I gave you some ideas for your own Salamangreat deck. Hopefully I gave you some lines of play that you guys can learn yourself, and just giving you some ideas for different combos that the deck is actually capable of doing. So that's it guys for this video. I hope you did enjoy. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Rollback1 signing out. Later all.